Hello, and welcome to the newest episode of the Drive Home Podcast. A podcast where I'm the only one who needs to wear a seatbelt. And I'm also the only one who currently needs a license. Well, that's not to say I don't have one. I do have my license and I have it on me. But, I just thought I'd add that. I'm not, illegally driving or anything. That would be stupid. Plus, I did mention, I think, I must have, a cop pulled me over just outside of my work a week or so ago to question me about my my lights not working, and all of that has been sorted out for a while. I pretty much cleared it all up day after, and I think I talked about it too, but I just thought I'd mention it again. I do have to say, I haven't had many interactions with the police in a sense where I screwed up or whatever, or it's specifically about me. But for the ones I've had, they all seem very nice. At least up here in New England, a lot of them seem very nice. They seem like very nice people. So, thank you if you're listening. You guys are doing a great job, as far as I know. So today I started work at 9:30 and I got out at 12:30, no, not 12:30, 1:30. So today was another extremely short day. But I didn't sleep very well, and I've been taking, I guess, naps, adult naps. I don't know what exactly constitutes an adult nap, but what I think of it is when you get out of work or whatever, and there's a lot of, daytime left, but you go home and you you try and do whatever it is you would do while you're still awake, but you end up falling asleep way too early for a couple hours. And usually you wake up sweating horribly. Or maybe that's just me, I don't know. But I've been doing that more recently, and it's probably because I've been waking up earlier. And that's not something I'm good at, and so I'm probably just getting more tired throughout the day. But I'd like to think that other people take adult naps. Or well, I say adult, I'm barely an adult. And I do recommend this. If you're legitimately tired and it's early in the day, just lay down and I don't know. Lay down, close your eyes, put on some music or whatever. You'll fall into a sleep. And you'll probably wake up a couple hours. Usually, my naps are 3 hours long or so. It ranges from 1 hour to 3 hours, but it depends on if somebody's... It depends on outside factors as well, if there's some type of loud noise going on outside, I'll probably wake up. But I don't know. I think as we grow up, especially when we're really young, and if you go into kindergarten, which I don't even know if they do anymore, though I feel like they probably do, and preschool as well if you attended that, which isn't really school, it's just daycare. But essentially, they'll have you take nap breaks. They'll turn off the lights. They'll be like, hey, everybody, heads down, whatever, just kind of sleep, but not really. And it's usually a very short time, but I vaguely remember doing that in preschool and kindergarten. I say kindergarten specifically because that's the only time that we did it in an actual school. But I don't know. I think as we get older, we sort of just like step away from naps. Like, oh, they're too childish or whatever. But I think naps are really important. So I don't know how true this is, but there's somewhere, I can't even remember where. It might have been the internet, honestly. But no, I think it was something I think it's something factual. But so in ancient times and whatever, prehistoric, so to speak, caveman times, I think, possibly later, I don't know how much, but it's said that people didn't like sleep like for the full night. People would sleep for a couple hours. We'd wake up for like an hour, and then we'd go back to sleep. And so I think taking a nap towards the end of the day isn't bad, because it's kind of similar to that in a way, I think. Because I think it was all about like taking shifts, right? To like guard or protect your space or whatever. Right? Like keeping watch or lookout or whatever. But I don't know. Like I don't know if there's anything to back that up. All I can say is that I enjoy taking naps, even if I wake up feeling like I've been in the Sahara Desert, minus the sand. Oh yeah. Well, I haven't really done this in a while, but I just thought of a story. So a long time ago, my aunt so it was summer, and so we were out of school. And one of the things we would do is our aunt would pick us up, and she'd take us someplace for the day. And usually that someplace was, if she decided to take us anywhere, sometimes we just hang out at her house all day, because at that point we weren't old enough to be home alone. What she would do is she would take us to the ocean. So I live on the border between Maine and New Hampshire, basically. But I do live in Maine. So we have to drive I think, like 1 to 3 hours, somewhere in there. Like, it takes us about 1 hour to get to Portland, and I kind of want to say it's close to Portland, but I honestly have no idea. Portland, Maine, I should say. I have no idea if there's another Portland, but I thought I'd just make that clear. And we'd always go to this like famous lighthouse. Like, if you imagine Maine, I don't know why, but besides the horror stories in the forest, there's like a lighthouse, and then it like borders the ocean, or like it's on the ocean or whatever. And there's some old like ruins around it that have been graffitied upon, which is kind of sad that you can look at. But so she took us there once a long time ago. Well, she's taken us there a handful of times. Usually once a summer or so, for the most part, like on average. But this one time, when we were relatively young, might have been 6 or 7, when she took us, I can't remember what happened throughout most of the day, but on our way out when we were leaving, my brother didn't want to, or maybe it was me, I can't remember. One of us didn't want to leave exactly, or we wanted to do one more thing before going home. And it involved going out into like, there's a very small like actual like beach there, like, because there's a whole lot of parking, and then you like walk around, there's like hills and stuff that you can walk around, and there's like rocks you can sort of climb, but you're not really supposed to. And there's a shoreline, which is mostly just like smooth rocks, but there's this one small area near where you can park that has like it's sand. It's like a little mini beach. And when I say mini, I probably mean like 20 feet wide. Like, that's how big it is. It's like 20 feet wide. That, like, or maybe less, but I'm not really good at estimating that, and I haven't been there in a long time. It might be even smaller than that. I feel like 20 was generous. Anyway, I ran back out to that beach for something. I think I might have gotten sand in something. I wanted to wash it out with like the seawater before I sat down permanently for like a 2 to 3 hour, well, it felt like a 2 to 3 hour drive home. Because normally once we go home, we don't really stop. And I tripped in the sand. And so I don't know how exactly, but like most of the sand was very wet. Like it was literally, it wasn't as bad as if it was like just barely like you put water in like a hole of sand and then the water sort of seeps through this. It wasn't that bad, but it was wet sand, right? So where like if you pick it up, it like, I'm trying to think of something to compare it to, but wet sand is very particular. I want to say it was like moist sand. Like it was wet, but it wasn't like soaking wet, right? Like you could, like it was still kind of like rough for being wet sand. But so I tripped on said wet sand and I fell face first, not into the ocean, not into a mouthful of salty seawater. No, I got a mouthful of soggy, wet soggen sand. I got a mouthful of wet sand, and it was the worst thing probably I've ever actually had in my mouth. And I think my aunt really wanted to go home because she was kind of angry. And I don't think I got like a sip of water the entire way home. So, or anything really. Because we might have been leaving because one of us was in trouble, honestly. Because we were kind of rowdy back in those days. So to speak, being really young, you kind of like get excited and want to do everything all the time, but you've never been an adult before, so you don't know how much that hurts. I don't know. Well, I say hurts, just it generally sucks to do, I guess. But so we made our way home. And that entire time, I couldn't really talk because I didn't want to swallow. Because I think it's almost like a basic human instinct to like swallow whatever's in your mouth, I think. Or that's what it feels like. Because I feel like I have to swallow, like even if it's just my saliva, like I feel like the temptation to like swallow it down, just to like keep my mouth empty for the most part. And I did not want to do that with sand. I mean, there was basically already sand in the back of my throat, but I wanted to get it out as soon as possible. Which basically meant I couldn't open my mouth or do anything for nearly 3 hours. And that probably, I'm pretty sure, pissed off my aunt because she did try and talk to me at some point. And I can't remember if she stopped for water or not. I don't know. I think the reason we left was because, we were supposed to leave, but then one of us kind of did something stupid at the time. Like, they wouldn't, like, get in when they were supposed to. So we ended up being in trouble because, if you have, like, a similar in age sibling, you probably get this. But if one of you is in trouble, you're both in trouble. That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts. The blame is equally dealt even though you didn't do anything wrong. So, no matter whose fault it was, because I honestly can't remember. It was such a long time ago. The only thing I remember about the whole trip was the wet sand in the mouth and not really having a drink for like nearly any of the way home. And honestly, to this day, I kind of wonder if that's where like the roughness in my voice kind of comes from, because I have to really pronounce, or I have to enforce my voice to make myself sound normal. If I don't put any emphasis on my voice, it gets really gravelly, I think is the term. And I don't know, it's either that or maybe it's something to do with my asthma or whatever, I don't know. But my voice is kind of like my I guess like my real voice is like pretty gravelly, and I'm curious if it has something to do with that. Just because it feels similar, I guess, in a way. Ah, jeez, just talking about that wet sand, like, can almost taste it. What? Yeah, so that was that story, I guess. I don't know. I thought it stuck with me all this time, so I thought I may as well tell it. It's something that I'll never really forget, because that was, like, horrible. And honestly, I don't super blame my aunt for, like, not being happy about whatever it is that we did wrong. Like, at that point, we did stuff wrong, like, all the time. To the point where, like, I couldn't even tell you what we actively did wrong. Like, at any point. Just because of how much stuff and how long ago it was. There was just too much, I think. And, you know, like, it's not like we were bad kids. We were just hyper. Or, well, maybe my brother was hyper. But, you know, I was with him all the time, so... And I always tried to be like his leash, so to speak. Like, I tried to rein him in a lot of the time, but depending on what it was and what we were doing, I might get hyper too, honestly. And I was a big complainer. I think I am still a little bit, but I've been trying to get better at it. Which is why I think a lot of my episodes are me like talking about stuff that I like. I did have to give some constructive criticism about multiverses in one of the previous episodes, but and I do like taking both sides. Like, I don't, like, in most arguments there are certain exemptions, like being a Nazi. Like, I'm not gonna take that side. That's stupid. Being a Nazi is bad. Do not do that. But there are certain arguments where there's not really like a true good side or true bad side, where I can sort of like, I don't mind arguing either or. And sometimes if I have an opinion on it, then I might mind which side I argue for. But I don't mind being the devil's advocate a lot of the time, is kind of what I'm saying. I don't like it when stuff is almost unanimous, like, without even discussing, like, why it happened the way it did or whatever. Like, I guess what I think is that I believe everything deserves a fair trial, so to speak. Because, you know, like, I don't really know how, like, courtroom cases really work, but there's, like, you know, like, each side presents their case and then people vote on it, right? So, like, they both get a chance to present their case, but in a lot of like smaller, you know, arguments and stuff, there's really only like one side. And it just depends on like who's more popular, or like what's like the better side, what's the easier side, you know. A lot of this stuff's just like that. And I don't know, like if it's I don't mind arguing like the side that not many people are for. I just, you know, I don't want to see the wrong, like, I don't want to see the wrong thing happen to the wrong person, right? Well, or I guess the right thing happening to the wrong person, because, like, like, you know, I don't want to see the wrong, I don't want to see somebody get, like, convicted of a crime they didn't commit. And stuff. But, like, I don't know. I usually like arguing I like being a devil's advocate. It makes things more interesting, but, you know, there are certain examples of things that I won't be a devil's advocate for, like, ever. Yeah, so, yeah, basically anything like depriving someone of rights or in favor of killing a majority of people for not a good reason or a terrible reason, like a non-existent reason, basically. Because, like, here's the thing, right? Like, if there are people who are, let's say, like, zombies, or they're carriers of an illness that will infect and kill everyone on Earth, I don't know how I'd side with that, in the sense of if there was a vote to be like, kill them all, or don't. Because, like, personally, I wouldn't want to kill them or anything, especially not myself, but, like, at the same point, let's say it's one of those clean-cut things where if you kill all the infected people, the disease itself straight up dies. Right? So, and, you know, maybe in the future there'll be a cure, but we don't have one right now. During this vote thing, you know, I don't know what I'd vote for. It's very hard to say. I might honestly vote to kill them. Like, even if it was someone I knew, right? Like, I don't know. I might lie to people, depending on my choice in the vote, but honestly, I don't know. That's something I don't want to have to think about yeah, I don't want to think about it. Like that's not something I'd ever want to think about. But if I had to, I don't know. That's I don't know if I can answer that. Something I can answer though is, I guess. So a friend asked me once if they were a zombie and I had the option of killing them or not killing them, or like they were going to turn into a zombie, and I had a gun, should I kill them before or after they turn or something? I don't know. I can't remember the specific question, but the long and the short of my answer was, like, if the zombie plague is curable and you're still human for a little bit, I'd probably tie you up and or, like, you know, stop you from being able to do anything. And if you're my friend or whatever, I don't know, like, I'd try and keep you alive. Well, you're a zombie, you probably don't really have, like, an actual, zombies don't need to eat, they just want to eat brains. Zombies don't die unless if, like, they're decapitated. I don't know, it depends on the canon and stuff, but, like, generally speaking, zombies don't die, they just want to eat brains and convert more people into zombies. So if there was a possibility of a cure in the future, I would, you know, like, contain my friends and I don't know, go from there, I guess. But if it was my friends, if it was, like, either a random person maybe or my brother, and I was like, well, maybe not my brother, I don't know, he might go in the friends category, I don't know. So in return, my response to this question, or my answer to this question, in a weird way, is, you know, like, if you are okay with dying, you know, and there's, like, minimal chance of it, like a antidote to the cure, sure, right? Like, if you're okay with it, like, the question might have even been phrased like, you know, they hand you the gun, kill me before I turn, please, you know. I'd probably fucking hate myself. Oh, jeez. That's the F. Yep. Well, I'd probably hate myself for it, but I'd probably do it in the end. On the other hand, if I were to become a zombie, I'd be like, hey, I don't know if there's a chance of a cure, but I want to become a zombie. So tie me up, cut off my limbs if you need to, and use my zombie body to find a cure maybe. Because, I want to be helpful even if I'm a corpse. That would be my take on it if I were to turn into a zombie. And originally I think I said that I might do that about my brother as well, but like if it was my brother who was turning into a zombie, I might do that. But I'm not really smart enough to find a cure, so I'd have to find somebody else who was smart enough, so I don't know. Either that or I'd like keep my brother with me, and then once I found someone smart enough to engineer a cure, I'd just be like, cool, I'm the guy you're gonna experiment on. And then I'd let my brother bite me, because he would already be a zombie. Then I would get infected, and then I would have the scientist person contain me and study me, and then everybody wins, hopefully, unless if the scientist guy gets attacked by zombies while I'm a zombie, so, But, I don't know. Zombies, stuff is weird. So, this is the end of the episode. I've been home for a little bit. Thank you all for listening to today's episode of the Drive Home Podcast. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye!